This is the trick up my sleeve that I've been saving to share with people.
If you've ever wondered how to create an incredible AI advertisement that has the power to go viral, this is the video for you. In this video, I sit down with Marcelo Costa to talk about how he created an incredible AI project for Deloitte. The ad was frankly so good that I thought some of the shots were live action, but nope, it was all created with the power of artificial intelligence. Marcelo has a ton of experience working with big brands, and we talk about everything from the creative AI pipeline to negotiating your rates as a creative artist. I think there's a lot of really delicious knowledge nuggets inside of this video. I hope you enjoy. All right. Marcelo, thank you so much for hopping back on the channel.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to share what I can with the community.
I think it's really interesting the context in which we last met in person. We met at the Reply Festival in Venice. You were one of the finalists for that competition. And we bonded over the fact that we both recently had kiddos. For you, it was even more recent than me. It was just literally, I think it was a few days after you were at the festival. Is that right?
Yeah. He's 2 months old now, but at the time he was 2 days old. So I had to kind of like crazy trip, like hop to Venice, like back on the first plane next morning.
Dude, that's awesome. And congratulations. Like that's so cool. And I definitely know that you were probably one of the more tired people at that event, having a baby recently and then flying and all of that. But congrats, dude. That's awesome. But let's talk about something less important, and that is some incredible work that you put together for Deloitte. So we came across this project online. We featured it in our gallery over at Refuge, and it's one of the more impressive examples I think I've seen of an AI assisted advertisement. Can you give us a little bit of a background here? How did this project come about, and kind of what kickstarted the idea?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thank you. I'm glad you liked it. And first things first is this wasn't AI assisted. It's actually 100% AI generated. Everything in there is AI. The agency had this the creative idea. They came to me, and there was the whole pitching process, and from there we produced the film with AI.
So how did that even happen? How did the agency get to know you? Was this somebody that you knew before? Like, what kickstarted the relationship there?
They got to know my work from Instagram, from what I heard, and of course, social media always has been since its inception a great way to get your work out there. So number one tip is don't be shy, put your work out there. And if it's great stuff, people are going to come after you. It's as simple as that. It definitely helps that I have a lot of experience in advertising. I've only started doing AI this year, so it's been less than a year. Thing that will make people get their foot through the door is just showing up, putting impressive work out there, and agencies, clients, they'll come.
You've posted on Instagram. I know that we've also posted your work on our AI gallery over on Refuge. So it seems like this is almost built into your creative workflow, is to, once you create something, you share it with the community.
Yeah. It's not even part of the creative workflow. It's the outcome, right? Like, back in the day, people would make films and they would have deals with movie theaters and channels, and nowadays we have YouTube and we have Instagram. So those are the channels. You put your stuff out there.
So what was the pitch that, or rather, what was the brief that Deloitte came to you with, and what did they hope to accomplish with the project?
Generally, an agency will, get briefed by a client. They have a planning team. They do, all kinds of research. They find out things about their audience. They set goals and things that they want to achieve, and then somehow they get to a creative brief that then usually a team of art directors, copywriters, creative directors, all of those people from the creative department inside the agency develop a script and get that approved with their client. So basically, once they get to that stage where they have the script approved and they need to get it into production, they reach out to a few directors, usually 3, could be less, could be more, and just send that script that they have to to those directors, and they expect what we call a director's treatment back. A director's treatment is, and a lot of people might think, oh, a treatment like treated images, no, but it's actually how the director sees the script. For example, imagine you have like a script that says, oh, our character, she's inside a store and she goes out onto the street, and that's the scene. But then it's up to the director to give that scene life, like, okay, so she leaves the store, but how does that happen? Is the camera tracking behind her? Do we do a drone shot that comes from the sky and then meets her as she leaves the store? There's a lot open for interpretation in that one little line of script that might seem set in stone, but it really isn't. So a director's treatment aims to kind of like give the agency an idea of how a director envisions the treatment. This was my first time doing a treatment for a fully AI generated project. So this is a little bit of a part of the process that's still up for to be molded as we go, because now the treatment isn't so much about showing references. It's more about seeing, like, showing how you see the film aesthetically and what you plan to do with that. Basically, the agency gets these treatments from each, like a treatment from each of the directors, 3, 5, 2 directors, however many, and they make a choice of who's going to get the project based on that. And then, of course, there's devise the campaign, approve it with the client, sent us the script, ask for a treatment. We sent the treatment back. Other people sent their own treatments, and we ended up getting the project. Thankfully, yeah.
I'm curious on two fronts. The first is, you said you sent over a budget, so I'd love to hear your thought process there. And then you also used the word we. Did you also have collaborators that were helping you with prepping the treatment?
That's still one thing that's still being also kind of like, I think, developed by everyone who does this, because we don't have like costs with equipment or catering, company moves, electricians, all of that. We don't have those kind of costs, but we do have some costs that are for a big project such as this one, like an external editor, music composers, what else did we use? VFX people. In this case, the film was 100% AI generated, and we used VFX people to track Deloitte's logo onto the swimmer's cap. But basically, my way of thinking about it is a little bit, how much is your day worth? How much is your day of creative work worth? And you kind of see how many days you think you're gonna spend on that project, and that should give you a good idea of cost. So basically, you take your cost, with composers, VFX people, editors, AI assistants, people who might be working with you that you're gonna pay, and then put your own costs on top of that. And then your own cost, that's something that's I can't really there's not much that I can say. I think it's up for each person to figure out where they are career wise, what people are willing to pay for their work, and take it from there. Of course, more experienced people will be able to charge more.
Now comes the fun part, actually creatively pulling it off. So can you walk us through just a rough workflow? How did you lay out the project? Would you just do a bunch of images with animatics? How did you bring in the sound design? I would just love to hear as much as possible.
So basically, the treatment already set a pretty good picture of how the film would look. Basically, what I chose to do, and what I know a lot of people are doing, and I think is one of the safest ways to proceed with clients now, is basically you make an image approval stage and just try to break it down into smaller sections to kind of like have their saying through each step of the way. It's a lot easier to rework a frame than to put everything together and then realize that like something isn't working for one reason or another.
Did you have limitations about which image tools you could use for this project?
No, that wasn't a problem in this case. We basically, and this was 2 months ago, which in AI time is like a decade. So we didn't have a lot of the tools that people are using a lot today, which would have made the work a lot easier, like Seedream. We didn't have Seedream. We didn't have Nano Banana back then. So basically, this was all Midjourney, Flux, to get the character right. Because also like this, one of the I might be skipping ahead here, but I'm just gonna say, like on the creative front, I think the main challenge and one of the main points we had to work closely together with the agency was getting the character right, because that's Daniel Whiffen. He's a real person. He, of course, he's a gold medalist, Olympic gold medalist from Ireland that Deloitte sponsors and called in to do this campaign. So they had a photo shoot done of him, and then we used those photos with his permission. Of course, he's been invited by Deloitte to do this, to train a model on him.
So you got your image cut approved, and then you went into the animation process. Were there certain animation tools or AI video tools that you found to be more helpful? Was it a combination of multiple ones? How'd you go about that process?
Playing is usually like really good. Like you can't escape playing for professional work, almost never. So a lot of Kling. Midjourney's video tool had just come out, so I tried a little bit of that. And then, of course, I tried a lot of things on a lot of tools that never made the cut. But, I like to try the same shot sometimes in a few different tools just to see, can I get an even better result from this tool or that tool, even if I already have the shot. So I think the main thing is just being really thorough.
So you edited together the video. You worked with a sound designer or a sound design agency. What was the experience like that?
Yeah, it was a sound design company. In this case, the agency themselves hired the sound design company. I just want to say that the agency in this case, which is Acne, was just really, really, top notch people, top notch creatives. They, every step of the way, they were making the right calls, giving the right feedback. So it really helps to get a good film when you're working with the right people, because and we know, those of us who are in this job, we know that sometimes things don't go so well and dandy. But in this case, I was just really happy to collaborate with them because they really had good taste and they were working to make the film better. They came in once the first edit was done and just started cracking. They did a first version, and then of course there's always rounds of feedback, and then the edit changes a little bit, and then they work on top of that. But it was really a very smooth process with them. A general vibe brief of what we wanted to see, and then iterated from that. But it was all them. Yeah.
So I want to step back just for a second and talk about the actual shots that you had in the piece. Some of them looked live action or like it was documentary footage, but you said it was all AI driven. So like, how did you pull off? There were some of the shots that felt like it was almost like a shallow focus person jumping into a pool. I thought it was literally just documentary footage. Like, how did you pull that off?
This is the trick up my sleeve that I've been saving to to share with people. But basically, I think what I did there was I generated some broadcast aesthetic kind of footage with VO or whatever tool you want to use. Just kind of like generate it. Like the aesthetics aren't even that important in this case because the goal is to kind of like play with the texture. And in this case, I used like this kind of state of the art, cutting edge rig to actually take that footage, and I reshot it on my iPhone from my computer screen. And it just gives that kind of like extra layer of realism. You're like shooting something with a camera. It's been AI generated, but it helps bring it like the texture, because I think, like, in my opinion, at least personally, I think what gives AI away the most is just texture. It's all texture, especially skin texture, right? So if you start playing with texture, then you start getting away with it more and more. And there are a million ways of doing it. In this case, I shot the footage from my screen, which isn't anything new, by the way. Like, people have been doing this in production companies like for ages. But you could, for example, just get creative with it. You could like print out the frames of a film on a printer and rescan them. For example, you could project them onto a wall and like take photographs of the wall and reassemble them. There are a million ways to play with texture, and this is the one way I found to kind of like make this one feel more realistic. I think the main thing I wanted to say was like, what's the role of AI in all of this, right? We like the entire process. It happened in the same way it would happen with any other film, except that instead of going on location and shooting it for real, we did things with AI. But editing, color grading, music, the pitching process, everything happened the same way it would happen in any other project. So AI are tools to like make things be possible. Like projects that would be millions and millions of dollars or euros are suddenly possible to do with a budget that's more realistic for agencies, production companies, clients all over the world.
No, that's great. And it feels very, very high budget. But I definitely feel like your personal experience being in the advertising world for so long helped to contribute to the project feeling very, very premium, because you're able to use all the techniques that you've developed over the years and then bring AI alongside to really just amplify the underlying skills that you have. So incredible job on the project, man. Marcelo, thank you so much for sharing your insights on this project and for sharing the inspiration here on the channel. I appreciate you taking your time.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and I hope this is helpful to people out there.
Okay, thank you so much for watching this video. Of course, if you want to learn the latest AI advertising techniques, be sure to check out our AI advertising course over at Curious Refuge. And if you want to learn more about Marcelo and see some more of his work, be sure to click the link below this video. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want the latest tutorials and project breakdowns directly here on YouTube.